If you look for Castles of Burgundy, you will find a copy that is under $30.
Do octopuses squirt ink?
Welcome to the Operation Game Night podcast, where the mission objective is to play more board games. Put your battle rattle on and mount up. Let's start the show.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Operation Game Night podcast, episode 12. We made it 12 episodes. Today, we have a banger list of games, 30 games under $30 in 30 seconds or less. And with me as always, we're going to save you some money on some great games today. With me as always, the King of the South, Jared Erickson.
Whoa, what up? So that makes a dozen, huh? We have a dozen episodes out now.
A dozen.
And you could say that the obvious flake of the trio, maybe half dozen. Maybe I'm in the half dozen. Next week we got a baker's dozen. I don't know. I'm excited about it.
But your episodes are always a favorite.
Yeah, they're high performing.
You see a spike. Episodes. Actually, I found out today that Adri doesn't even listen anymore. So it can't be that like my wife is spiking the views because she doesn't even listen anymore. So,
well, you need to go onto her phone and download the episodes into her Spotify so we can get those listens.
Yeah, when you start seeing some comments from Adri Page and they're all just glowing reviews of my chain, you'll know it's actually me. So.
Nice.
That other sultry voice that you hear on the recording is Clayton. Real G's move in silence like lasagna. Gable.
Man,
how you doing, Clay?
Travis, you come in with this stuff. You're the man. All right, I'm here. I'm ready to talk board games. Let's do it.
We've got no time to waste because we have 30 games to get through later on. But first, let's debrief our week. Then we're going to fall in on the mission objective. ESPN has their 30 for 30. Forbes has their 30 under 30. This is our 30 games under $30 in 30 seconds or less. And then we'll go over the fence and we'll wrap it up with things that we've been doing outside of board gamings. But first, let's debrief our week. Jared, debrief your week in board gaming for me.
All right. Well, this one is a new one. I don't even know how I got involved in Distilled from BGA. Hashtag BGA, with these two fine gentlemen. Distilled. It's a new game, right? In 23 came out.
Yeah.
Designer Dave Beck, artist Eric Evenson, publisher Paverson Games, and there's a bunch of other publishers. I obviously play the BGA version. I think there's a couple of different variants of it too, but I don't know what the BGA version is. It's an awesome game. I'm not much of a alcohol drinker. If I was going to be drinking, it would be to get drunk on some distilled liquors that we make in this game. You have an awesome like market phase. You're trying to get all your ingredients into different containers, age them, sweeten them up with your sugars, and then creating some kind of alcohol. And so the main objective of the game is to make the best possible alcohols and sell them. You can improve your alcohols through either like premium ingredients, and then also upgrades to your distillery. Really neat little variants on building your engine. You know me, I'm all about building that engine. And then there's also some luck involved where you have to remove some of your ingredients after you shuffle them up, add in some alcohols that your fruits or your sugars, they take on alcohol, and then you have to remove two of your cards. So maybe you might not have the ingredients to make that delicious tequila that you were hoping for because you accidentally removed your 2 agave. But anyways, I digress. It's a lot of fun. I also want to take this time to say, hey, maybe we could play Twitch and play some Distilled. Is that what the kids are doing these days? Twitch? Is that what it is?
I'd be down to do some Distilled on Twitch.
Let's Twitch it up.
I think Travis throttled us the first time. I think I got one good one in. But maybe we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah,
do it live.
I know that they also have a new expansion coming out for Distilled, and so hopefully that makes it to BGA, but I know it's like in a cocktails version, so you're not just brewing the alcohols, you're then making cocktails with them. So curious to see what that looks like. I haven't seen any playthroughs or anything of it.
Yeah. It's got all the makings of a great board game, like character abilities. It's based in reality. Isn't that a style or a theme? I don't know.
Yeah, you kind of like learn a little bit about the distilling process through the Distilled game.
Yes.
And with your description of it, I just now realized why I can only ever brew or distill vodka in that game. It's because I'm losing out on ingredients. I'm not fortifying my hand enough.
That's right.
When I select the ingredients. So I am now learning.
Oh,
Dang,
damn it.
I'm now learning how to play this game.
Well, I mean, when you watch us on Twitch play Distilled, you might watch Travis just throttle us both. He's going to become a quite the distiller.
That's right.
Now, Jared, you've played what's it called? Viticulture, right?
Viticulture. Yeah, that one seems like real clunky. I don't know. There is a lot going on in Viticulture. Same kind of premise. You're making wine.
Yeah.
Also building your engine. Character abilities, all the same kind of feel. But I feel like Distilled it's more distilled. It's a little bit easier to understand the rounds. At least BGA makes it seem very easy. Like it already collects everything for you. It puts it into the little piles. It automatically removes your ingredients when you go to distill and stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little clunkier in real life, but it's still a pretty streamlined game. That again, it can take a little longer than you might want if you're playing with more than 3 players, probably. But yeah, it's definitely been a fun one to keep going back to on BGA with you guys.
No. Do you have anyone have it
way better
in
than
person?
Darwin's Journey?
Oh gosh.
God. I do have Distilled in person, and yes, I'm sorry about playing Darwin's Journey. I just wanted to reboost my street cred after I whined about unconscious minds being too complicated. I wanted to share the complexity amongst Operation Game Night.
For the listener out there, Clay decided to send me and Travis a little friend request for a little play of Darwin's, what is it, journal?
Darwin's Journey.
Journey. This thing is complicated as sin. The YouTube video alone was almost 40 minutes. But I hate to say it, guys. I think I'm into it. That's what I'm worried about, is that this damn thing's so complicated. I don't know what the hell's going on. But it's scratching some kind of itch. Even though I think we're probably going to be playing this over the next 2 months because it's going to take forever to get through all the turns. But
I really like the core thing of Darwin's Journey is that like making your workers unique by getting them different seals. So like your one worker has like 2 green seals, so it can go to all the green spaces, and then you can keep upgrading that over time. And like you make these workers that can do these different things for you. So I like that core system. There is a lot extra going on, but it is.
I just learned that you could do that in Darwin's Journey. So
that's like the thing, Travis. You got to get those seals, buddy.
I'm just like clicking a random worker and sending them wherever it will allow me to send them. It's like my first couple plays of Lost Ruins of Arnak. I'm just like, do whatever I can, whatever it will allow me to do, and then I'm done.
Hey, maybe we could get Darwin on Twitch as well, and people can phone in and help us, because maybe we stop this one halfway through and restart after we all figure out what we're doing and how the hell this thing works. But
Yeah.
That's fair.
I just want to find those turtles, okay? I don't know where they are, but I'm looking for them. I want to find them. I want to figure out how big they are, how old they are. I want to do it all.
Deliver them to the museum.
Well, that was my debrief.
All right, Clay, debrief your week for me.
Listen, I've been playing a lot of games lately, so I'm going to let you guys pick the path you want to go down. So 3 games I would like to talk about. One's little, 2 are decent size. I played Apiary, Architects of the West Kingdom, and The Gang.
Never
Gang,
heard of
like
them.
the dice game.
No, The Gang. Jared, I'd played Apiary with you and Architects of the West Kingdom on BGA.
Holy shit.
Cut that.
I'll cut that. The Gang is that new poker style cooperative card game.
Oh, yeah. Let me hear about that one.
Okay. I still want to talk about one of those other ones too. So
Okay.
you might be stuck with me for a little bit.
All right.
Okay. So The Gang is billed as like Texas Hold'em poker meets The Mind. So if you haven't,
nice. I'm sold.
Yeah, if you haven't played The Mind, it's a game where you all just have cards and you don't talk and you're trying to play them in ascending order without messing up. So it's kind of capturing that same feeling, but with poker hands. So what you do is you deal everybody out their pocket. There are 2 cards that they start with. And based on what those 2 cards are, there's 4 poker chips laid out on the table. And without talking, you have to grab the poker chip that you think corresponds with the strength of your hand compared to everybody else. So there's like a 1 chip, 2 chip, 3 chip, 4 chip. And if I think my hand's really bad, maybe I grab the 1 chip because I have like a 2 and a 3 that aren't suited. And then everybody else grabs a chip. And if you like really think somebody is wrong about what they grabbed, you can grab that chip from them and give them your chip. So you do that after you get your initial pocket hand. Then you deal out, I don't know the poker terms, but the flop maybe, when you deal out 3 more cards in the center that everybody's looking at. And then you do another round of grabbing poker chips. So and then the yellow chips come out and you're like, okay, now based on this new information, my hands may be better than I thought it was. This time I'm grabbing for the second highest hand strength. And all this is just gathering information because after the 5th, so then there's a 3rd round where the 4th card comes out. You do that again with the chips. And then after the 4th round, that's when it matters. The red chips come out and now you've hopefully gained enough information about what people might have in their hand and the strength of their hand that you all grab the chip. And once everybody's settled, you start with the lowest person. They reveal their pocket and you're like, okay, you have nothing. You have a high card. Good. Nobody was worse than that. Then you go to the next person and you're hoping their hand's just a little better. So you go around. If you mess up, you trigger an alarm. If you succeed and you got all the hands in the correct order, then you like flip a card that says you started breaking into the bank. Because that's the theme of this game, is like you're a crew trying to heist a bank. And so the game ends either if you get all 3 bank breaking cards flipped positively or you triggered 3 alarms. And so, yeah, it's super simple. If you know poker at all, it takes like 3 seconds to explain what's going on. And it has those moments where in the mind where you're just like, you're revealing things and you're like, no way, because this person just had 1 number higher than you and you just barely got by the skin of your teeth. So it's like a 15-minute game. And yeah, again, if you have it around and you want to play a game with people that don't normally play games, but they know poker, it's like, hey, look, this is an interesting take on this game you already know, but we're all working together to, try and organize our hands without talking.
Is it Western themed?
Not really. It's more like Ocean's 11 type heisters, but there is an advanced variant that we played with. and it's not that advanced, but essentially there's like special cards that if you tripped an alarm for the next turn, you get this positive effect. So it like kind of is a catch up mechanism almost, where it's like, okay, one person can tell you what strength hand they have. So you can have some talk during that round. And then the opposite's true is if you succeeded in your last hand, you flip over a card that makes it harder in your next one. So like maybe you don't get to deal out the white chips after the pocket cards are dealt. So anyway, it's super quick, super fun. Again, there's not much to it, but when you have those moments where you like get it right and everybody's clapping and high-fiving, like that's a good game. It's a simple game, and I got it because I really love the crew, which was a twist on trick-taking games, which made it cooperative. And this is definitely a lot lighter and simpler than that, and probably not as much replayability as the crew. But again, for a $10 game that you can break out with anybody, I love it. Like I'm super glad I have it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What have you been playing, Travis?
I got to play Kelp, Shark versus Octopus.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a 2-player only game. I've been busting at the seams to talk about this. Kelp is I think it was a GameFound game. Anyways, it's a crowdfunded game that just released and just got shipped to all its backers. And it is a 2-player only asymmetric hide and seek game between a shark and an octopus. Mm. So both sides played differently. I got to play the octopus and my opponent played the shark, and they both have really cool mechanisms. So the octopus, their goal is to eat all the food before they get caught by the shark. And they do that through hidden tiles that are facing the octopus only. And then the shark player sits across from the octopus. And these tiles have food or traps or the octopus token itself. And you have to play cards out of your hand that can let your octopus grow and get new abilities and to eat the food and to switch the traps and to do all this other stuff. So it's like a deck building type game for the octopus with a hidden movement. So you can play these cards that will allow you to eat a food or to learn a new technique, which you add to your deck. But to do that, you have to pay the cost of the tokens that are on the board. So when I pay a card that says I have to pay 2 tokens, I take the tokens that are hidden to the shark player and I have to flip them down so that the shark player can see them. Ideally, you want to reveal as few of those as possible, because then what you're trying to do is move your octopus token around to hide it from the shark, because the shark wants to find the octopus and kill the octopus or defeat it in the final confrontation. So octopus is more of a hidden movement and deck building. The shark is like a upgraded, they want to upgrade their player powers through pulling dice out of a bag. So it is a bag building game for the shark. And they are trying to move along these current lines. The board is like this big circle broken up into a 9-quadrant grid. And they are trying to move along these current lines to search these tokens for the octopus and beat it in the confrontation. So once you reveal the octopus, you have to be right next to it to attack. You have to have a red die that's available to spend as an attack. And then the octopus gets one more chance to escape with these 3 cards. And the cards are like counters to an attack. So the octopus will take one of these cards, and the shark has the matching 3 cards. I can't remember what they're called exactly, but both players will choose one face down. And if the shark player picks the same card as the octopus, the shark wins. And he gets to like counter the octopus's escape. If they both pick the same, the shark wins. If they pick different ones, the octopus gets to do the player ability that's on the card. Maybe it's move the octopus around. Maybe it's to reset all of their tokens. Maybe it's to, do a bunch of different stuff that puts them back into hiding. But those cards, red, green, yellow, whatever color it is, those ones get discarded from those final confrontation cards. So the next time it happens, it's a 50-50 shot for the shark. And then after that, it would be like they just have to find them one more time, and then the shark would win. So it's really cool. I definitely want to give it a couple more plays, but it's Wonderbow Games, and it just came out. I want to shout out specifically the expansion. So I got the mini expansion for this, and I got a Brilliant Behaviors expansion. I have not played with these yet, but I was pretty impressed just kind of reading the rules of them. The New Pursuits is the mini expansion, and it adds additional goals for each player that can get you benefits as you go along. Tiny little pack of cards that are like these little table tents that you set up next to the board that have different player goals. And then the Brilliant Behaviors has a pack of, they call it a six expansion. I don't know why it's called a 6 expansion, but it comes with these 6 different cards that augment the way that both sides play. So there's 3 for the shark, 3 for the octopus, and it kind of gives them different advantages, makes their play a little different. But they specifically recommend using expansions or this Brilliant Behaviors expansion to level the playing field between new players and old players, new players and experienced players. So it's pretty cool. These 2 mini expansions are really interesting. I definitely want to play with a couple of those, but I want to get a couple more plays of this. The artwork is beautiful. You look at the game board, it's like looking at the sea floor. It's got kelp and coral and all this stuff. And it's got, different, it's like a grid system for the blocks and the movement. The shark can enhance its movement capability because it can only move along these grid lines, and it can't swim backwards. So you can't just like make a U-turn and immediately swim backwards. You have to ride these currents around to get to advantageous positions, and you can enhance your movement by rolling additional current dice, the blue ones. And if you can play them in descending order and multiple blue dice in descending order, you can jump all the way to the end of that current, which is pretty cool to, get some real mobility around the board. So Kelp seems like a really cool system. I definitely want to give it a couple more plays to give my final thoughts on it, but so far it has not failed to impress. I really enjoyed it.
Does it has a 3D minifigs?
Yes.
Looking it up on Board Game Geek.
Yeah. If you want to see these minifigs, we posted it on our reel on Instagram at Operation Game Night, but it came with some nice minifigs in the deluxe Kickstarter edition. Nice. And the octopus one, because he's got a little token that says what your starting hand will be, either 4 or 5. And the minifig for the octopus holds that token with its tentacles, which is pretty excellent.
Yeah, that's cute.
It's giving me serious Battleship vibes, but with some actual fun play.
Yeah, I just liked how the different mechanisms are different. You have hidden movement and deck building versus bag building and upgrading player power. So it was, really interesting. Pretty cool.
Who'd you play with?
Rach.
What'd she think of it?
I think she needs a couple more plays of it to understand or like really use turns effectively. But it was. We made it through.
Nice.
Made it through. Yeah.
Do octopuses squirt ink? Is that a thing that you have to calculate in?
Isn't that squids?
Squids. Okay. Dang it.
Yeah, but the octopi does have a player. The octopus has a player ability to like trick of the light or blending in or active camouflage or whatever it is that can help them kind of hide their position again. There's one that you get to add a couple of your tokens that are already out on the board. These nice acrylic tiles. They're super nice to play with, but you get to add them back to your bag and shake it up. And then as you draw them out, the shark gets to decide. You don't show them which one you drew out, but they get to decide where it goes. So you draw one, and the shark says, "I want that one there," and then you place it hidden. Oof. And then I want that one there, and you place it hidden. So it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, got good player interaction.
You guys remember Andrew Lankow?
Yeah.
He went and got a master's at UC Santa Cruz, and he did a whole bunch of research on Octopus.
Cool.
Never read what he wrote. I'm sure he wrote a thesis or something, but if you ever want to get in on the brain of an octopus, you got to go talk to that guy. He huge fan. And
That's interesting.
I'm a huge fan of Octopus because of him. So obviously I didn't know they didn't squirt ink, so maybe I'm not that big of a fan. But
You should probably go chat with him, Jared.
I need to set up a meeting. Yes.
Yeah, so that's Kelp, Shark vs. Octopus by Wonderbow Games, released 2024.
Nice.
I dig it.
The only other one that I have to debrief is that I got my copy of Dead Cells, the board game which is a roguelike board game based on a video game called Dead Cells. And I'm so stoked to get this played, and I will talk more about it later. But I love the video game, and I'm really excited to get that to the table.
Those are tricky. I hear mixed things when they do these board game adaptations of video games. So I'm interested to see if this one's going to be a hit.
Yeah, we'll see. I still need to unbox it, but I might do a unboxing video for our Instagram.
Nice. And just as a go back, The Gang also came out in 2024 by Cosmos and designed by John Cooper and Corey Heath. So, new one,
Nice.
but you can get it. I've seen it out and about.
Look at us. We're staying relevant and up on the times. Look, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we are hip with it, Jared.
Are we? Would you say we're on the cutting edge?
No, because we would have gotten all of these games to preview before they released, but
Yeah.
we're getting there.
The real content creators talked about this a year ago.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
right.
true.
Hey, did you guys want me to talk about Apiary or Architects of the West Kingdom?
If you're going to talk about one, I would talk about it quickly.
Yes. Which one?
Whichever one you are most excited about.
That's tough. Okay.
I apologize. I didn't realize what apiary was, and I do remember now. I don't connect apiary with bees in my head for some reason.
Apiary, legitimately means
I know.
bee related.
This is the quality of podcast mate you have here. I don't know anything about animals. I don't know which ones squirt ink and which ones collect honey. I don't know.
Dang.
Real zoologist.
Well, since we're talking about Apiary, Apiary is one of Stonemeyer's newer games. Came out in 2023, designed by Connie Vogelman. And at its core, it's a worker placement, tile placement game. So you have these little bee workers that have certain... Have you played this, Travis?
I have not. I've been really interested in trying it, but I haven't
Jared's
tried it yet.
played it. He don't remember it, but maybe it'll ring a bell when I start talking about it.
No, I remember now. I looked it up on BG or Board Game Geek.
Yeah, you see it. But anyway, you have these little bee workers that can be from value 1 to 4. So one of the core things you're doing throughout the game is your worker bees are upgrading in value, and you're sending them out to these different action spots. So the things you're doing are like, you can send your worker to a space to explore different planets. And when you do that, you gather the resources that are on that planet and you can store them in your hive. You can also go to a space where you are gathering new tiles for your hive. Think Castles of Burgundy. All right. We're grabbing tiles. We're expanding them out in our hive. Each different tile has like a different special ability. So you have these green tiles that are farm tiles that activate when you return your workers home, which I'll talk about in a second. And they also give you more spaces to store resources on your hive map, because if you can't store the resources, you can't have them. Then there's blue tiles that give you these ongoing effects throughout the game. And then there are these wonderful pink tiles, which Jared doesn't remember playing, but I remember even what you did during this game, because these pink tiles have these bogus one-time effects that you're like, holy cow, that's crazy. And Jared was just like, he found some combo that he could do where he would play one of those and then be able to activate it again. But anyway, those are the 3 different types of tiles you're placing into your hive. You can go to a space where you can expand your hive, which lets you put like this extra little piece to your hive out there. So you can keep filling it up after your like base hive is filled up. And you can also get your workers back once they've hibernated. Anyway, a lot going on. But those are like the main spaces you're going with your workers. And as they upgrade to different levels, you can take more actions or take more powerful actions at each of these places. But when you get a level 4 worker, that's as high as it goes. And when you place that on one of the locations, there's a special level 4 worker ability that pops off and will get you like even better benefits. So it's cool to get your worker upgraded, but then once that worker comes back, you don't get it anymore. That bee has grown up big and strong, and now it needs to hibernate. So you lose that worker, but you get to place one of these little hibernation bees in this like little bonus area at the bottom. And that's kind of the timer for the game. Once enough bees have hibernated, the game ends. There also is worker bumping. So each of these action spaces, when your worker's there, if somebody else wants that spot, they can go there. They bump your worker back to your worker pool. And when your worker comes back, it upgrades to the next level. So you're kind of like managing these workers, upgrading them, going these different spots. But man, this game is so satisfying. It's like everything you do feels good. It's almost like Castles of Burgundy in that way. Like you're just constantly doing things that feel so overpowered. And I didn't even talk about it. There's these freaking seed cards that you can go. There's another worker spot where you can get these seed cards. And these things are like, every one of them seems game breaking too. Like those tiles. Again, lots of good feeling stuff in this game. Like these seed cards, you can either just spend them as a wild resource, or you can plant them in your hive and they score like end game points for you. Or they have an ability on it that's like bogus. So you can use them for any of those 3 things, and all of it feels good. There's these golden tiles in the middle that have these awesome end game scoring opportunities, but you can only get them with a level 4 worker bee. But anyway, I mean, it's pretty straightforward when you're actually playing it. I might have made it sound more complicated than it is, but I mean, yeah, it's a game that just is constantly rewarding you, and everything you do feels broken. Like all your abilities that you have, like everybody starts with their own faction ability, and you're like, well, that's really good. And then you look at your opponent over there and you're like, oh my God, are you allowed to do that? And they're like, yeah, look at that. So it might be a little swingy and not necessarily balanced all the time, but it always feels good when you're playing it and you're finding these cool combos and doing it. And I think this might be my favorite Stonemaier game at this point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is this one that becomes really unbalanced when you're playing with more inexperienced players? It sounds like if you know how to take advantage of some of those steps and the player abilities and unique areas that you're adding to your hive, that you would just, completely demolish somebody that's brand new to the game.
I would say for your average gamer, probably. But for me, I had played it a few times, and then I played it with Jared, and he absolutely demolished me. So, your mileage may vary, but based on the engineer that you're playing with. So, but yeah, it's fun. It's good.
I did have fun memories of it. I do remember like rolling the little bee around right?
Yeah.
Is that how you make sure what level it is? And
yep.
Oh yeah, I was all about it. You build, it's like you're building your little engine, you're placing your little workers.
Oh yeah. So that's the farm tiles. That's the strategy I went with this last time. I just got a bunch of green tiles, and then every time you call all your bees back from the board, you can activate all of your green tiles. For every bee you have that you bring back, you can activate 1 green tile. So I was getting all these green tiles that would just give me points every time they were activated. And so, throughout the course of the game, I probably got like 20 points by activating these 4 different green tiles that ended up giving me points. But yeah, again, so much fun. I played it once at 4 players, and this is a common theme for me. 4-player games sometimes just take too long. So I think at 2 players, it's awesome. It scales well because the back side of the board is a 2 or 3 player side, and then the front side is 4 or 5 players. So I think you can have fun at all player counts. Just if you're playing with 4 or more, you're probably going to be sitting there north of 2 hours at a minimum.
Is this available digitally?
Not that I know of. But yeah, they just came out with expanding the Hive expansion, so that's now available too. I haven't gotten that, but from what I hear, it just adds more crap, more special faction tiles, more awesome tile abilities. So seems like a no-brainer if you like the base game to just pick that up and add some more fun stuff.
Awesome.
Debrief complete.
All right. Ready to move on?
Let's hit it.
Now we're going to fall in on the mission objective, which is our 30 board games under $30. And we're going to describe them each in 30 seconds or less because that's a lot of games to get through. We have a pretty solid collection, wide mix of varieties of games, different mechanics, and we're just going to go around the horn real quick and lay out each of our 10 games, and we'll be in and out quickly. And you have a solid list of games that if you decide to invest in, you can go out and build a pretty banger collection for not too much money. So real quick, how did you guys go about deciding which games to add? Clayton.
So I did my best to try and get something that was a board game, meaning it had a board. And because, you can find card games and, smaller games pretty easily around under $30. So I was trying to be like, hey, these things are just coming in right at $30 and they're a solid game that you would consider a board game with a board. So
no Uno, right?
Shooting. No Uno.
Pack of bicycle cards.
Yeah.
Jared, how did you decide on which games to add?
I was kind of a little fudgy here. I did also include maybe one that I got on sale at Target. Used games on eBay. Maybe that's just a good strategy, is like, be patient. You're talking to the, what is it, McScrooge? Is that the...
Yeah, Scrooge McDuck.
Scrooge McDuck here. Just be patient. You'll find them on sale, eBay. I'll talk about one of them, and it was a sweet eBay find. Also, I'm also a fan of games getting given to me. This week, actually, I don't know if this is a detour, but Deb, Clay's stepmom, sent me Blue Lagoon. I don't think you knew this,
What?
Travis.
Yeah, take that.
So I got a
Travis.
free game. The Scrooge McDuck gets a free game every now and then. Apparently, if you just complain enough on a podcast, you just start getting things sent to you. Am I an influencer now? Is that no? I think no. I
Deb.
don't think so.
I'm speaking now directly to Deb. What the hell?
Deb's
That's awesome.
she's always been she's always been a sucker for me. This goes back decades almost at this point. Just kidding.
Well, good. I'm glad your collection got a little bigger.
Yeah, but I also, full disclosure, my homies here helped me fill out my list. So thank you to my homies. They're great people to help you in a pinch. I'll say that.
We got you,
All
Jared.
good. Yeah, I think a lot of mine come in smaller boxes because if I'm buying a smaller game or a cheaper game, usually I like it to fit nicely in some boxes and not take up so much space. But I did find a couple that are slightly larger and some that are award winners. So I've got a pretty decent mix going on, and we'll see what we end up with. So who wants to start? Clay, you want to go first with your very first game?
Let's go. Okay, so I got my clock up here. My first one is going to be Calico. So this kind of started the whole flat out craze with, tile laying and scoring criteria. Cute little cat themed game where you're drafting these tiles and trying to get them to meet these certain scoring criteria. And it just keeps getting harder and harder as the game goes on and your board gets tighter and tighter. It's a great game. You can get it under $30. I saw it. Google it. You'll find it. But Calico, if you like tile placement, you can get it pretty cheap.
Nice. Jared.
All right. So a lot of these games we've already talked about as well. So you'd have to reference a previous episode. So I might be under 30 seconds, but it sounds like I'm already taking up my 30 seconds by talking. But Bonanza is my first one. A great, it's like a card collection almost. I like to think of it almost as Go Fish, but with trading. I talk about this game when I was in Korea. The beans are awesome. You're trying to plant your field, score your points, and quick, easy, quick to pick up. So that's my first one, Bonanza.
Travis, take us away.
All right, my very first one is Splendor. Splendor is a great engine builder that makes for some really tense moments. You collect chips to buy cards. The cards count for chips later on, so you are building your engine slowly to earn points. There's some cool expansions that Splendor has. Splendor Duel is also a great implementation of this instance, but you can get Splendor and Splendor Duel, Marvel Splendor if you want, for under $30.
Hey, quick caveat here. I was thinking we should tell people where we saw this, but that's too much. You can trust us that if this game's on our list, if you give it a Google, you will find it somewhere for under $30. It might not be the first thing that comes up, but it will be there. So I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, this was on Amazon for $23.77. Just Google it.
We'll do a shout out at the end of resources on how to find cheap games.
Yeah, but my next one is Patchwork Halloween. Some would call it Rosenberg's finest. The Halloween edition was specifically the one I saw that was under $30, but man, talk about an iconic 2-player game. You're managing this time track, grabbing these little patches for a quilt. I guess it's not a quilt in the Halloween one. I don't have the Halloween one. I have standard Patchwork, but this game has gotten so many plays in our house as a quick 2-player Tetris type game. Check out Patchwork Halloween if you don't have Patchwork yet, because you can get it pretty cheap.
My next one's a bit of a stretch. Quacks of Quedlinburg. I did get this on eBay, but shout out to eBay. Sometimes your used games come with little perks like sweet 3D printed upgrades that were just in the box. So that was sick. But Quacks of Quedlinburg, hopefully you can find it under 30. This one's a little bit... this one's a fun game. Push your luck. You're creating potions. There's you got bags that you're drawing ingredients out of. So we're big suckers for bags on this podcast, that's for sure. But you just want to keep going until you push your luck. Maybe you boil over your pot. So that's my second one.
All right, my number 2 game is Tussie Mussy Complete Collection with the pedigree of Elizabeth Hargrave as the designer, published by Button Shy Games. This big collection is a I split you choose mechanic where you're trying to give flowers to your friends to score points. Comes with all of the expansions in the complete collection, and you can get this for $18. So super cheap, just came out. It's awesome.
Awesome. And in the time you guys were talking, I remembered what I was going to say. Despite our Scrooge McDuck up there that likes to hunt the best deal, if you have the funds, I still advocate for supporting your local game store if you have one, and maybe spending $3 or $4 extra there versus getting it for a discount on Amazon. So if you are financially able, please support those friendly local game stores. But if not,
And you might get better deals there.
yeah. And if not, and you want freaking board games for under $30, do what you got to do. All right. My next one is Harmonies. This is a newer game, a little abstract nature themed game. They're in vogue lately, but Harmonies is super cool. Great production. It has these sweet little tiles you're laying out on your board, stacking them. So it's got great table presence. You're trying to create habitats for these different animals to score points. But yeah, it gave me real Cascadia vibes, but it definitely plays a lot quicker than Cascadia. And I think it looks nicer on the table. I was surprised you could get this one for under 30.
Nice. Next is Ahoy. If you like Dead Reckoning, that thing's probably $1,000. I'm not even sure. But this one's definitely closer to 30. Pirate themed game where you're interacting between different factions. You're going around trying to deliver packages or blast each other, rolling die. So there's lots of good luck involved. Lots of good engagement, asymmetric. You're building the player board or the board game as you go, as you're traveling into the darkness to discover new lands. And Clay's really good at it too. So there's a plus side to that one.
That's only because you guys focus on killing each other and I just smuggle.
Next.
All right, my next one is Hive and Hive Pocket Edition. This is a 2-player only tile placement strategic game and super simple mechanics. You're just placing tiles and you're trying to pin in the opponent's queen bee. The Hive Pocket Edition comes in this nice little baggie that's super portable, and it comes with all the expansions under $30.
Dang. Yeah, Hive's a great one. My next one is Marvel United, the base game. You can get this thing for like $20 some on Amazon or other places, but Marvel United is one of my favorite co-op games, great family game. And for that price, I mean, in the base game, you're getting these nice chibi minis and you're getting an awesome game that if you enjoy it, there is endless opportunity to expand upon that base game. But I still think with just the $20-something version base game, you can have plenty of fun cooperative times with the family.
Nice. Dice Miner is my next one. Again, I love the die. I think we've already talked about this game before in the past, but lots of interaction. You get to cheers each other by throwing die to kind of throw people off your scent a little bit, but you're collecting die, scoring points that way, and re-rolling between rounds, so it gives it a new feel every time between rounds. So really, really enjoy it. Also like the player abilities that make it simple but fun to play.
Nice. My next one is Jaipur, which is about trading and selling goods and camels in a market. And you are trying to collect sets to sell to the market to gain points. And if you sell larger sets of cards that are different colors, you get bonus points that are hidden. You might get 10 points, you might get 2 points. And the idea is to have the most amount of points at the end of 3. It's best of 3 rounds. Super fast, easy 2-player game.
All right. Next up for me is King Domino. King Domino, I overlooked it originally coming into board gaming. It looked simple, like a kid's game, but at the end of the day, it's a super fun tile placement game where you're kind of almost pushing your luck, trying to build out these sections of your kingdom, big areas, and hoping to get crowns in those areas so they end up scoring. Yeah, this game is great, and it has now several versions, but the original version, King Domino, you can definitely grab for under $30, and you can play it with anyone and have a good time.
The Crew is an awesome cooperative trick-taking game. Really neat presence in space as you're trying to solve problems by playing your cards in a very specific way to make it past different levels. And each level, there's something a little bit new waiting around each corner. So this one's a classic. So a lot of people probably already know about that one, but The Crew.
All right, my next is Forbidden, the Forbidden series, but my favorite is Forbidden Desert. You have variable player powers. You are trying to search this grid of desert tiles, sand tiles, to reveal parts to a arrow ship that you are using to escape your imminent doom. And you are drawing cards that then increase the storm levels. The sands shift around. You're trying to keep everybody alive and get them out of the desert. Super tense, super fun. Forbidden Desert.
All right. Next up for me is My City, which is one that came up on my top 5 games of all time. So this is a great game. Simple. Another Tetris-y polyomino game, but it's a legacy game that evolves every time you start a new game. There's new little rules that are introduced. Each game takes like 15 minutes, so you can knock out the 24 game campaign in a pretty reasonable amount of time. And for under $30, the amount of gameplay you'll get out of this, like, it's mind-boggling. So, My City.
Kites is my next one. This one's a lot of fun. A lot of fingers, sweaty hands flying around. You're trying to flip these sand timers. And what is there, like 6 of them? And you're working together cooperatively to make sure that none of your 6 sand timers run out. But each person has their own piece of the puzzle. Each person has their own way to unlock it. And you just have to work together to keep those sand timers flipping. I've sweat plenty playing Kites. Huge fan of Kites. That's my next one.
Yeah, that one's pretty new. Came out within the last 2 years and pretty interesting because each of the timers is different lengths. So you have to keep the shorter timers flipping continuously, and the longer ones you can let burn out a little bit. It's super interesting, super tense, great cooperative game.
Oh, yeah.
Mine next is Boss Monster. Boss Monster by Brotherwise Games. This is a game where you play as the baddie in a retro video game, and you are building out your lair to attract not only the heroes in the village, but to beat them before they get to you, the boss. And each of the rooms that you're adding to your dungeon has different abilities, and you're trying to build a system that is a trap for the heroes. It's pretty cool, especially if you have any nostalgia for retro video games. Boss Monster.
All right, next up for me is Azul, specifically Azul Mini. I mean, it's tight on the regular Azul, whether you can get it for under 30. It's usually coming in right around that price point on Amazon, but Azul Mini is definitely under 30, and it gives you all the same gameplay experience that you get in your full-size Azul, and it's more portable. There's not much to say about Azul that hasn't been said. It has become a ubiquitous game, even outside the hobbyist community. So to be able to pick up a version of it for under 30.
I don't like that one because Mary kicks my ass too much in it. She's super good at that one.
Yeah, she's sneaky. What you got now, Jared?
I got Just One. Love cooperative games. Here's another great party cooperative game where you're trying to get people to guess a certain word, and each person has their own opportunity to write down a clue. But if any one person's clue matches another person's clue, they cancel out and they don't get to see that clue. So sometimes you're left trying to come up with the word chocolate with brown and delicious. Maybe that's all you got. I don't know. I mean, I could probably get it with brown and delicious, but or I was thinking nice. Gabe Martinez, but anyway.
Oh my God! Wow.
Cut that.
No, that's staying in.
All right, my next is One Deck Dungeon. This game is a roguelike where you are you have a unique player ability and you are taking your character through a dungeon. You can choose your own path, and it's initially hidden to you, but as you complete challenges, as you overcome monsters, you can either add those cards as experience, an item, or a skill. So you get to upgrade your player as you go through, and the idea is to get to the big baddie at the end and defeat them and still be strong enough. It's awesome. It comes in a super tiny box. One Deck Dungeon, published by Asmodee Games.
Dang, you're throwing out publishers. I was not that prepared. So my next one is Canvas, which if you like Dead Reckoning and you like card crafting, this has that in a much smaller package, much more affordable. So you're trying to create paintings that meet certain criteria to score points. But in doing so, you're drafting these see-through cards that you're sliding into the card sleeve. So you're actually making these paintings as you're going through the game and drafting these different pieces of the artwork. So even if you're not having fun scoring the points, it's still just fun building those little cards of paintings. Quick game, easy to teach, and I think it warrants a spot on the 30 under 30 list.
Even a big Neanderthal like me can be artistic with Canvas. All right, my next one is That's So Clover, where players place words on a clover-shaped board and give clues to help others to guess the words and how they're connected. And they rearrange these words, trying to solve this puzzle. Similar to Just One, it's fun, cooperative. I just love when you get it right and you can just high five all around on the table. High energy, pretty easy to get to the table. That's my next one.
All right, next one on my list, I have gotten more play out of than probably any of these other ones, and that is Castles of Burgundy. You can get a used copy of this for like $5. It's available all over the place for super cheap now. It's been published 1,000 times. I know we're not talking specifically used games, but Castles of Burgundy is available in 1,000 different publications, and I have played this game 1,000 different times. So Castles of Burgundy has to be on the list because it's so readily available. It's super cheap.
All right. Yeah, that's a bit of a loophole there, but it is true. And if you can get Castle of Burgundy in any way, shape, or form for under $30, you've made out, because that is a great game.
If you look for Castles of Burgundy, you will find a copy that is under $30. It just might be used.
That's fair. The next one on my list is a game that I bought for like $50 when it came out. And now you can get it, I just looked yesterday, for $15 on Amazon. And that is Red Rising by Stonemaier Games. For whatever reason, this game failed to really take off, but I still very much enjoy it. It's based off Fantasy Realms, like core system, where you're trying to craft a perfectly symbiotic hand of cards that all work together to score the most points. And on your turn, you're drawing a card and discarding a card. And I mean, that's the core of the game, but in Red Rising, it's based on the IP and has some beautiful artwork on the cards. And they added some different elements with the board, some area control, some tracks that make it a little more meaty of a game than Fantasy Realms. But you can pick this up for cheap, and it's a good time.
All right, Spots. It's a light-hearted dice rolling game, dog themed. Talked about this one before. You can get little ones involved, people from 6 years old all the way to 99. Rolling die so that you can place them on your dog cards. Once you get 6 dogs, you win. And then there's lots of different ways you can play it. You can change how you roll the die, which I'm sure there's like thousands of permutations of how you can select your actions. So each time you play it, it can be slightly different. I love it. Lots of fun. Spots.
My next one is actually a Spiel des Jahres winner, and that is Sky Team. Sky Team is a great 2-player game where you are flying a jet into an airport, and you're trying to land the jet successfully before you run out of fuel, overshoot the airfield, land with your gear not down, and then you got to hit the brakes and stop in time. The permutations of this game, or the permutations that this game takes as you continue to complicate the game with leaking fuel or crosswinds or dangerous terrain, is always really interesting. Sky Team is a great 2-player game and still hot and still affordable.
I did not save the best for last, but I saved a really good one for last. So yeah, this game comes. Oh shoot, busted my mic. This game comes on sale a lot. It's at Target. It is Downforce, a betting and racing game, and I don't think this game gets enough credit for how fun it really is. You are drafting these cars that you own at the beginning. So you want them to win. You play cards to move the cars around the track, but then you also get to bet on what cars you think are going to win that might not even necessarily be yours. So there's a lot going on, but it's super easy to teach. You just play a card on your turn and move those cars. Gets overshadowed sometimes, but it is still a great game.
My last one is Camel Up. Believe it or not, I got this bad boy for $18 at Target. So this one is a betting game with camels that race around a track in unpredictable ways, guys. So you can bet on who's winning and who's losing, and every single time you roll a die, you don't know what's going to happen. So lots of fun. It's actually pretty quick, too, and you can play it with pretty high player counts. Awesome way to round out my 30 under 30.
My final game is Honey Buzz. Honey Buzz is a worker placement game where you are placing beeples. Yes, that's bee pulls with bees to trigger actions and build out your hive. You're collecting different pollens to make honey, to sell, to continue to upgrade your hive. And it is super tense. You probably can't get the upgraded version of this for under 30, but the deluxe version with like the actual gummy honey feels so good. Some of those components are amazing. But Honey Buzz is a great tableau builder worker placement game that is really exciting and really cool.
Not as cool as my B game, Apiary.
Oh,
I don't know, man.
And not under 30, though.
Buzz is pretty cool. I think I just want to give a couple of shout outs for places where people can find these games for cheap. So there is a Reddit thread called Board Game Deals where people will tell you about all the latest sales that are going on in the board game world, to include deals of the day, hot games that are for sale on Amazon, different friendly local game stores sometimes. But if you have your eye on a game, you can set reminders or set notifications on Reddit that will tell you when somebody posts in this thread about your specific game. That's a great opportunity.
Board game deals?
Yeah, Board Game Deals on Reddit.
Perfect.
Then you have your big, at least in the US, you have your Target buy two, get one free that people take advantage of all the time. You've got your Barnes & Noble that have their annual board game sale typically in the summer. Those are great opportunities to find awesome games for pretty cheap. And then finally, the best deal in board gaming is probably a Board Game Arena subscription or Tabletop Simulator. Those are way too cheap for the amount of games that you can play on those things, and they are constantly adding and evolving, and you can get a lot of plays out of both of those systems. We are going over the fence. Let's do it. Clay, tell me what you've been doing outside of board gaming.
So my kids are munchkins in a Wizard of Oz production that is going to be taking up our next few weekends. I did not realize what all went into local theater, and it is impressive the amount of time they put into these things. I mean, this is just going to be a church, but I've been to all these rehearsals, and the people like singing and doing all the main parts are awesome. And my kids, I thought they were just going to be like munchkins standing in the background just with like a cool hat on as background, but there's dances and they have like 4 songs they need to know. So I've had to learn these dances, and I have been teaching them these munchkin dances in my free time, which is so embarrassing. But
oh my gosh, we need to Twitch this. These also go on our Twitch.
And we need to put it on the Instagram.
Yes.
You guys want to see it quick?
I mean, yes. Give us a little taste.
I'll give you the ding dong, the witch is dead. Hold on.
Your favorite one.
Give you the ding. Listeners, for your reference, he just got up and shimmied and shaked, and he flapped his arms around, and he kicked his legs, and he is the perfect embodiment of all that is Munchkin. So thank you for that, Clay.
I didn't know if I was watching Hamilton live, if it was Lin-Manuel Miranda before my own eyes, or if it was Clay Gable. It was beautiful.
Yeah, so
Tomorrow's EGOT winner, Clayton Gable.
that's what I've been up to, is learning Munchkin dances so I can make my children learn Munchkin dances. And they don't look like a sore thumb up there on stage. But yeah,
Wow.
that's all I got
Phenomenal.
for you guys this week. A lot of Wizard of Oz coming our way.
Jared, hit me with what you've been doing.
I got a lot.
board
I got a
gaming.
lot of weird body talk I wanted to do. I got an endoscopy this week, so camera down my throat, look at my tummy. Just been having weird pains. I'm getting old, guys. Not only that, my doctor prescribed me vitamin D. So, doctor tells me to go pick up my vitamin D. I pick up the bottle, and there's only 12 pills. I'm like, what am I only supposed to take this for 12 days? Turns out they got vitamin D pills that'll go for a full week. So I only take it once a week. Apparently I don't get out and see the sun enough, but I got that going on.
I wouldn't
And
either
then-
in Alabama.
Oh my gosh, it's so hot. It's still hot right now. I think my AC went out. It's November, guys, and I'm still swampy. I'm still swampy. It's November. This is what you get to look forward to, Travis.
I can't wait.
But then I also, last thing about my body is I did treat myself to some new ear pods. I don't know if you guys noticed that. They were on
good.
sale. But my damn ears from wrestling, the cauliflower ear, like none of them sit well. Like the earbuds I had before were the Beats by Dre, they over the ear.
Yeah.
Those are just painful to wear, but at least they stay in place. One of these things just keeps falling out because it just doesn't fit.
Jeez.
But I mean, now I look the part though. I mean, I got the ear pods. Looks like I can always wear them and walk around. I guess isn't that what the cool kids do?
Look hip. Look hip.
Yeah, you look pretty cool, Jared.
Thanks.
So if Clay is posting his Munchkin dance to Instagram, you have to post the video from your endoscopy.
Oh yeah.
Give the people what they want.
That would be amazing. They didn't think I was as funny as I thought I was, and I had asked the nurses. I'm like, "Am I going to get pictures?" And they're like, "Talk to the next nurse." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." It was a little bit of a meat market in Birmingham. I couldn't get it done here in Montgomery, so I had to drive 2 hours up north, and there's like 50 of us and like 90-year-olds getting colonoscopies and endoscopies.
Oh,
And,
man.
Just funneled me through, but
Nice.
I'll let you know the results when I get them.
Yeah, I hope everything's good up there.
It's just I drink too much Diet Coke. I already know what the problem is. So
Where would you be without it?
I will finish up real quick in that I found Yellow Jackets season 2 on Paramount Plus, and season 2 is so good, man. You guys got to watch this show. It is so tense.
Travis,
season 1's on Netflix.
I
Yeah.
watched it after you recommended it on this very podcast, and it is scary.
You just got to push through. You
I
gotta
was
keep
like-
going.
I was laying in bed at night, and I was thinking about these freaky girls doing messed up stuff in the woods, and I was like, I can't. keep
It's so
watching
good,
that.
man. Yeah, season 2 is really got me hooked right now, and we've been lounging about the house with the in-laws here, so I've been burning through season 2 really quick.
that's what you got to do when you got to. A newborn.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's about all we've been doing lately. So, yeah, not a whole lot going on here. Just Yellow Jacket season 2.
Travis, I feel
Nice.
like you could start your own podcast where you talk about like TV. You got some.
Movies and TV.
You are crushing some good series. Like,
Oh, yeah.
don't let one pass you. I will say that.
Yeah, I'm stay tuned for my spinoff podcast, Operation Movie Night.
Yes.
Oh. Love it.
Anyways, but before we go, I do want to give a quick shout out to listener Fee from. I'm sorry, hold on, I just lost it. I want to give a shout out to listener Fee from Stack 'em High Games. She commented and said that she's loving the podcast and the topics that we're talking about. So shout out to Stack 'em High Games on Instagram. And if you are enjoying what you are hearing here on Operation Game Night, go ahead and tell a friend about us and refer us. You can find us on Instagram at Operation Game Night. We now have a YouTube channel. We've got a Twitter, Clay.
There's a
Don't quote me on
Twitter.
that.
There's a Twitter.
There's a Twitter.
We don't have any
X now.
followers.
Oh, X.
Oh, we got X. We
And,
got Facebook.
Are we
Jared's
about to
the
have
only person
Twitch?
following us on Facebook? We're going to have Twitch going, and we're going to post those Twitch videos to our YouTube. We're just getting started here at Operation Game Night. This is grassroots. We're changing the world. Let's go.
If you want an opportunity to get on the ground floor of the next board game revolution, like and subscribe to Operation Game Night.
Wow, it was beautiful.
And with that, I have been Travis. He has been Clay.
Later.
He has been Jared.
30 under 30, baby.
And we're out. The Operation Game Night podcast was created, produced, and edited by me, Travis Smith, and co-hosted by my good friends Clay Gable and Jared Erickson. Thank you for listening, and hope to see you again next week.